Damon, you don't suppose Inga ran outside of his residence screaming because of back pain, do you?
That might be the case, though I don't think that's where they were going. That might be the case, though. What a twist! Speaking of a twist, we're the Bittersweet Gamers!
Are we square?
I'm the opinionator! Why waste time? We're even in the middle of a thought! Let's go, because this is great. Minister Inga screamed because where they were going, of course, is that he was attacked by Nayna. That's what they meant.
Are you sure he didn't just have a bad dream or saw a ghost? Or have a bad dream about a ghost, Nayna?
Kyoko's a ghost, Billy.
Kyoko's a ghost, I knew it! For real?
Maybe he was attacked by Nayna. This would make the Justice Minister's private quarters the real scene of the crime.
It was cleaned up pretty well.
Does your idiocy know no bounds? The minister's body was found in the tomb, obviously moved.
Oh yes, because people never move bodies from the scene of the crime.
Or are you suggesting that the body was moved?
Thank you!
People never move bodies from the scene of the crime. Do I think the minister was moved from his private quarters? I think the possibility doesn't exist. That doesn't sound right to me either. I'd say there's no way that happened. After all, there was an awful lot of blood in the tomb. And Rayfa would have seen more or
Yeah.
the blood trail and...
It would have been pretty obvious if... I understand if the scream was in reaction to Nayna's attack. But Inga died in the tomb.
We need to explain how those two realities could coincide. How are we supposed to do that? Maybe the idea itself is wrong. Oh, maybe where he was stabbed and where he died were two completely different locations.
I kind of feel like if he was stabbed in his quarters, staggered to the tomb...
In front of his daughter,
that there would be blood everywhere. No?
Well, he had the painkiller medication, and who knows what he did about the blood.
Although if the knife was in him, that would staunch the flow of blood until it was pulled out. I think I'm going in circles here.
Oh, well, I think you're probably right. The question is, though, is why?
Yeah. What do you mean?
It's just, let's look at this as simply as possible.
I don't understand.
If the minister's body wasn't moved, he might have been stabbed by Nayna in his private quarters, but then died in the tomb.
Yes, I see. No, I don't. On the one hand, that seems plausible, but on the other, it seems decidedly implausible.
Prosecutor Sadmati, what is that fool babbling on about now? Is this a riddle from one of those fortune cookies Americans seem so fond of?
It's a very American-oriented snack.
Well, I mean, they came from Texas. Perhaps, but I believe he himself does not know what he means to say. In all likelihood, it was a poor attempt to confuse us. We should simply ignore him.
Objection!
No, you!
I wasn't finished yet, so hold off on the analysis, would you? You two guys! The autopsy report never stated that the minister's death was instantaneous.
That's true.
So he could have conceivably moved from one place to another after being stabbed, especially if he also stabbed himself with a giant needle full of horse tranquilizers.
Oh my! Are you suggesting he ran all the way to the tomb with a knife sticking out of his back? What's that? Someone stabbed from behind where no one noticed? That's never happened in this game before either.
Well, yes, that's the gist of it.
In short, Minister Inga saw Nayna with a knife, let out a scream, and when he turned his back to her to flee...
Right. For the record, I don't buy this.
Me either?
And that's when he was stabbed from behind.
But it should lead us to what really happened.
Yeah, it's like this is plausible, and it's closer than the truth that we have now. Well, your majesty, does my theory hold water?
Like an urn that was tipped over?
Your majesty! How dare you bore me like this? What? You are a humorless moron, spewing an endless stream of unamusing drivel.
Well, I mean, Your Highness, this isn't a comedy routine. This is a court of law.
I was not speaking to you. By the way, didn't I dismiss you? I wasn't trying to do a comedy routine, Your Eminence. Was that a tone of mockery I detect? Prosecutor, enlighten this ignorant clown in lawyer's clothing.
Man, her insults just don't have the same punch.
You know, you're right. Until you said that in the last episode, I wasn't thinking about it at all. But she's just no good at this whole insulting thing.
She's just got this whole death threat thing going on.
Nayuda's way better at meaningless ad hominems.
She's more of a subtract homonyms.
And then Godot was like a divide homonyms, whatever that means, but dang, it was brilliant.
Was Black Quill a multiply homonyms?
Well, no, he just stabbed you with a sword and shot his bird at you.
He belongs in a fighting game.
Well, I believe that Phoenix and Maya were in one of those...
Capcom versus Marvel 3?
No, I'm not talking about a fighting game, but rather one of those Capcom crossover RPGs.
Really?
Yeah, like that came from Namco Cross Capcom.
Like with the pair system?
Yeah.
Oh.
I might be wrong about that. I only ever played the first one. Your Eminence. Huh! I am not Son Goku! Or Sun Wukong, or whatever you want me to say. Nayuda, what are you doing? You dull, slow-witted, putrid-minded lawyer.
Now that's some banter.
You see, Your Eminence, that's how it's done. Perhaps you would be too stupid to notice you had been stabbed in the back. But a normal person, such as Minister Inga, would have noticed due to the excruciating pain.
It's just slowly bringing up the painkillers, just waving them in front of him.
Now, hold on! I can't think straight while oh God, my brain! Allow me to teach you the meaning of pain. Huh. Please stop!
Nayuda has a point. Normally, most people would notice a dagger in their back.
Mr. Right! I doubt someone could ignore pain like this!
Still, in this case, it's the word normally that we should emphasize.
My ears, the pressure!
Apollo, take another look at the court record.
Fortunately, I don't need to! Huh. I don't know where it went, but I'm not going to argue. There's a reason Inga didn't feel any pain. And the defense will submit evidence proving just that.
I'm game.
Glad to have you on our side, Your Majesty.
Someone's got to be on my side. Why didn't
Genocide Minister Inga?
Why didn't Justice Minister Inga notice that he had been stabbed?
Well, clearly it's because of the drawing of Nayna's hat.
Clearly.
Or Dirt's badge. Oh, those are my father's painkiller shots. You mean the way that BSG started the episode was not completely without merit? Scandalous!
The defense will explain the significance of this evidence, because I have to have everything explained to me.
Minister Inga suffered from terrible back pain, so he often injected himself with these horse tranquilizers.
And then he really had some back pain. Ah-cha-cha-cha-cha.
We're told that one shot in the back would make all his pain go away. With this, it's easy to explain what happened. Don't tell me you didn't know about these, Your Eminence.
Wait. If Inga is face blind, and Nayna's hat was stolen, he wouldn't have recognized her when she came into his house.
That would actually explain it because she doesn't have the hat. Why is it that in this case, the final one, we were just like, whoa, and just started going through on all of it.
Well, I mean, if there is one case in games like these that I would prefer we get all the way right, it'd be the final one, no?
You know, you're right, come to think of it. You know what it probably is? We got an enormous amount of information front-loaded to us. We were given all we needed in the beginning.
There we go. That's why. Because this is the final case and there was a lot of stuff we'd have to go through. So he came in, was like, "Who the hell are you?" Turned around to leave, stab. Doesn't realize he's been stabbed, runs to the meeting place.
But why would Nayna stab him? I mean, I
It's
suggested
possible.
something like this myself earlier.
It's possible that it wasn't Nayna, but someone dressed as Nayna. From a distance, from a second-story veranda, with that big concealing hat.
Hold on, aren't you starting to move yourself in circles now?
I think you're right.
Aren't
Okay,
you saying
okay.
Nayna came into the room to deal
Okay.
with what had happened, but it wasn't Nayna after all? So in that case, it doesn't matter if he'd be face blind or not?
Okay, you're right. Sorry. Started to jump ahead.
No, I suspect that there was no stabbing. Or Nayna is the person who did the stabbing and Dirk is covering for his wife. You can't mean... Minister Inga was stabbed in his back, close to where he usually injected the painkiller. Therefore, it's entirely possible that he hadn't noticed that he'd been stabbed. What?
What's this?
Even we weren't thinking that he hadn't noticed he'd been stabbed.
Well, it's not the weirdest thing that's happened.
I guess if you've already put in that much painkiller...
There's a lot of backstabbing in this game. Both literal and figurative. Then, are you suggesting Justice Minister Inga really ran off with a knife protruding from his back?
I am, Your Majesty. So then, when I saw my father, he had a knife sticking out of him? I mean, with that cape of his, I couldn't see his back very well. Yes, the knife was there. It was just plunged in so deep, you didn't notice it under the cape. Therefore, when you saw your father, he was already dead. Murdered by Nayna in his private quarters. Pukuka!
Oh, holy mother of Khura'in! Are we dealing with the living dead here? Oh god, zombies! What? Well, technically, he wasn't dead yet.
It's just that was the mortal wound. I know it's hard to believe, but this is a plausible sequence of events, even though we probably have a bunch of it wrong.
So we have to address it until we prove or disprove.
And once Minister Inga arrived at the tomb, he could have removed the knife and dropped dead from blood loss. Nayna killed my father? There must be some mistake. The defense would like to call Nayna to the stand.
You don't know where she is, do you?
You seek to drag an innocent old woman to the stand with no proof whatsoever. Well, there's no real proof, but... What a tangled web of expedient lies you weave. Now, I still believe this is the case, but what if Nayna isn't Amara? We were pretty off then, huh?
Yeah. But a lot of things seem to point to that.
Yeah, it's just that old woman thing.
Also,
Maybe.
you don't get to talk about tangled web, Spider-Woman.
I can no longer tell fact from fiction. In the last day, everything in my life has just fallen apart. Who or what shall I believe in now? I'm sorry, Rayfa. All I've done is confuse you, and like BSG keeps yelling, the biggest victim in all of this is you.
She's going to come out of this as a much stronger person.
Somehow.
I believe in her.
But I have a sneaking suspicion Nayna's involved in this case, whether we have this right or not, one way or another.
Even if we're wrong, this is enough of an excuse to get her involved. Just when I thought we'd blown this case wide open.
Well, there's no turning back now. You fool of a lawyer. I know why you are so desperate to prove the accused innocent.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of reasons, lady.
Like, for instance, Apollo and Phoenix's lives. Those
Yeah.
are great reasons. You do? Yes, because he faces public execution if proven guilty.
That's a pretty good motivator, wouldn't you say?
As shall you, under the stipulations of the Defense Culpability Act. From the moment you accepted this case, you have had no choice but to fight for your lives.
Do you like how she's kind of phrasing it like this is some sort of bad thing? It's like, yeah?
No. The simple fact is, I've always believed that Dirk is innocent. That's why we accepted this case.
Yeah!
Puh. Still you cling to your pretense. Very well. I shall offer you a bargain.
Oh, yeah?
If you would admit that the accused is guilty, right here, right now, I shall overlook your crime of abetting him, and you will not be subject to execution. Remember, I am the law. I am the Queen of Khura'in, and if that is the way I say it shall go, then so it shall.
Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Well said.
What are you scared of?
Is this some sort of joke? Far from it. As queen, I have the power to grant pardons even to criminals like you. And with the wave of my hand, I can even reduce the severity of a sentence. Perhaps even for Dirk, should you be willing to cooperate.
She wasn't kidding when she said that she's the law here.
That's ridiculous. I get what she's getting at, but don't you think anybody taking this strategy has to be feeling themselves at a disadvantage?
She is not so benevolent a person to offer this.
Especially
Out of the
dangling
kindness of her heart.
Especially dangling reducing the severity of Dirk's
Dirk's
sentence. She's saying, let's not go any further with this and just end it now, shall we? And it won't be as bad for anybody. Maybe it might only even be life in prison.
But to flaunt that power in our faces like that, that's just wrong.
Forget all that has transpired in our kingdom, and return to your own country in peace. Well, will you abandon your defense of the accused and accept my generous offer? If I don't take this deal, you'll be executed along with Dirk if he's found guilty. What should I do?
Why are you even considering it, Apollo?
Nice try, Garan, and something of a tempting offer. But it looks like you don't know what justice is made of.
Good job, Apollo.
We won't kowtow to threats like that, Your Eminence. Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, but I can't back down now. I don't want to drag you into this, so...
Are you kidding? I'd have punched you if you'd accepted. Don't worry, I'm with you, Apollo, to the bitter end if need be.
Mr. Wright.
And while I can't say I'm used to it, this isn't exactly my first rodeo.
Here, that is. But if I'm found guilty, you'll get the death penalty too. Even knowing that, you still want to defend me?
I don't know what happened in the past, but it looks like everyone in this country considers lawyers to be liars. So I can understand if you don't believe me. But I still believe in you and your innocence.
Mr. Wright.
So all I have to do is keep believing and find the truth. That's all there is to it. I don't know why you had my flashback, Apollo.
I think that was you having your flashback, Mr. Wright.
Now, it's kind of confusing whose perspective this is from. So keep on fighting, Apollo. You'll hear no objections from me.
I should keep on fighting because it's confusing whose perspective it's from?
Shh, it's okay, it's okay.
Oh, okay. I'm probably thinking too hard here. You... Heavens to Betsy, you nincompoops!
Heavens to Megatron!
You'll die if you lose this case. Why would you even entertain the notion of continuing?
You still have to ask that after how many cases you've seen me and Rayfa?
Barbed Head? I believe that Dirk is innocent. That's why.
I believe that too. I'm just saying.
You be quiet! And besides, trials exist to give the truth a chance to get out into the open. You can't give up just because you're afraid of some punishment. Even if that punishment is death? Does that not frighten you, Hornhead?
Yeah!
Who wouldn't be scared? I mean, just thinking about it makes me weak in the knees, to be honest.
Bravery isn't an absence of fear. Bravery is doing what's right in spite of the fear. Stupidity is an absence of fear.
But as a lawyer, I have a duty to protect my client. I can't just abandon that, and you and I both know the importance of duty, right?
I like how duty is colored in just for that.
A duty you're willing to die for. And yet
Duty. It's a heavy burden, all right. Rayfa looks like she's really struggling. It's time for this flashback again.
Once an episode, peeps! Your benevolence. As Crown Princess, you're destined to rule this kingdom one day. That means there will be many things that you alone must determine. Things like how to keep your people happy, and what is true and what is false. And most importantly, what role you must play therein.
I know this is a very polarizing approach.
I wonder if I am even up to the task.
But it's no surprise, considering the torrent of painful truths she's had to face.
Was that your flashback again, or was that one mine?
We've already established that, Apollo. I'm confused. Whose flashback was it that time?
We've already established that, Your Majesty!
Very well, then. If the defense is prepared to face the death sentence under the Defense Culpability Act, then I see no reason not to continue with the proceedings. I remember making that offer at the very beginning of the game, but I must admit, I see no grounds for doubting the accused's guilt.
Unless the defense has further evidence that would indicate a different suspect.
Just give us a second to look through our court records.
Do we have anything like that?
He did say she transformed.
Well, maybe you were right after all. Maybe Nayna is in the tomb, and maybe this was a channeled... No, okay, well this is talking to a foreign dignitary. No, now I'm going in circles, trying to say that it was Garan that stabbed him in his residence. But that would have meant that in order to do that, the person would have had to have been dead. Well, we really need to open up that sarcophagus.
That is the crux of the situation here. We really got to get in there.
Does channeling a person require them to be dead?
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Don't you need their face and their name? Have we ever been under the impression that it had to be somebody who was dead?
It's channeling a dead spirit.
No, it's channeling a spirit. No, I think that's BS. That's ridiculous. Anyway, well, the best thing we can think of right now
is the bullets missing from the gun, and this is really the only way we have to point that out, because this is the only thing involving the gun.
That we can tell at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, lawyer, do you have any new evidence you would care to present? Or shall I have the executioner start his preparations? If she thinks I can't do this, she's got another thing coming.
And it's justice!
But first, I have some serious thinking to do. I'd say that new evidence indicating a different suspect. Well, the safe thing to do is to say exists.
It could just be doesn't exist, so we have to find it?
Yeah, but I mean, the
Okay.
safe bet when this pops up is always yes. Though it hasn't always been yes.
Okay.
Of course I have some new evidence, and I see that the penalty markers haven't popped up on the screen, so I'm not a threat. Do you now? How very interesting. Why doesn't she sound the least bit concerned?
Probably because she's been pretty meticulous about covering up the evidence.
Yeah, you're probably right. No, I can't let her get to me. I just have to keep pressing forward.
There they are!
This new evidence points to a different suspect. I hope. Really, we looked at everything, and it's possible that we're wrong, but this is the only thing that's unaccounted for, right?
Yeah!
Obviously, we're probably wrong, though.
Well, you know, ha.
Yeah, we were wrong.
Well, you know.
Well, what if it doesn't exist? Such evidence, and this probably isn't going to cause a game over, does not exist, because we think it's really weird if that last one didn't work, then there pretty much isn't anything, right?
I buy it.
Just as I thought. I suppose that means we're done then. I was so hoping you'd present meaningless evidence like you did and allow me to claim your head.
Like you didn't.
Glad I did walk head first into that one. Well, like Damon said, usually the answer is yes, but not always, and this was a not always time.
So, what now, Apollo?
Well, unless we can prove that Nayna killed Inga, this trial is over, and so are we.
Isn't there still a way to get the proof we need?
Yeah, the Divination Seance.
Even without evidence?
If Rayfa's okay...
You know, a key means of obtaining testimony here in Khura'in?
It would definitely move everything further in terms of the knowledge that we have. Because again, we're gonna see Dirk.
Uh-huh.
Wait, are you actually suggesting...
It certainly won't be easy, but it's worth a try.
Your Majesty, a crucial step in uncovering the truth behind this case has yet to be taken in this trial. I feel like I am the person who is trying so hard to make Rayfa hate me, but
Oh, don't worry, buddy.
I'm positive that I can back up our claim with this one step.
You mean you will be able to prove that Nayna killed Justice Minister Inga? And just how do you propose to do that?
With the help of a certain someone.
You need help? I'm not good at reading between the lines.
From someone?
That or they want Maya to spirit channel. Well, I can't imagine who it could be.
Oh, it's the Divination Seance.
But I suppose I must ask,
I see.
whose help do you need to uncover the truth? But that is the person right there.
Convenient, isn't it? We don't have to go far. Me? Here in Khura'in, legal proceedings include the viewing of the victim's final moments. But that requires your benevolence's help. Such information is just as vital as any other piece of conclusive evidence.
If you're right about this, Rayfa's power should enable her to see the very moment Nayna stabbed Inga.
And if not, we'll see something else, but it'll be hard to watch your father's murder. But it's the only way to uncover the truth. In a sense, it's the only way to avenge him. Your benevolence, we need you and your power. It's your duty, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need me?
Oh, you're objecting now!
Wretched simpleton, did you not see what ensued in the previous attempt? You would only succeed in wasting more time. Or is it your goal to make her collapse again?
Yeah, she's concerned now.
That's just concerned trolling is what it is.
Controlling. Wait, what?
The princess said she was prepared earlier. Besides, it's her duty as royal priestess. I'd say it's all up to her now. Am I prepared? Prepared to fulfill my duty?
Isn't a divination seance required in all trials anyway? If so, I imagine there'd be a problem with handing down a verdict without one. Indeed. It would be problematic. Under Khura'in's law, a seance must be conducted before a verdict can be rendered.
Such insolence!
What? Yikes!
Must you try my patience so? If I must dispense with that vexing law, then dispense with it I shall. Ah, absolute monarchies.
A fair trial for everyone.
What? As ruling sovereign of Khura'in, I proclaim the following, because I really don't want you to see that seance.
She's riding with her nail.
Henceforth, the Divination Seance shall be optional. What? You can't do that! She has the power to do that?
She just rewrote the law with the flourish of her hand.
Mother, I do not wish for the trial to end like this. It is as the defense said. I must not neglect my duty simply because I am afraid. I shall go through with it this time. I will conduct the seance once more.
Such insolence!
Rayfa, do not be fooled by his loyally guile.
Sonic boom! Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like she'd hold out her sash and reflect it, and depending on the strength of,
Like determine the angle?
yeah, and then the medium version actually had like a decent arc forward with some range, so you could mix it up offensively. And wait, she's not Rose, but it'd reflect that sonic boom, all right. You are not prepared to witness your father's death. But Hornhead needs my help.
Huh?
Rayfa, did you not tell me earlier? Did you not tell me you were prepared? But despite your grandiose posturing, you collapsed in a most piteous fashion. Like Billy said. Even worse. Where's the salt? Where are you hurt? Let me rub it in there for you.
Just douse him.
You have erred in your insights of late.
Ooh, that is below the belt.
For has not the barbed one there overturned them more than once? You cannot be trusted to keep your word, nor can you reveal the truth through your insights. Is she seriously just trying to discredit Rayfa? Not now. I mean, in this whole trial, that's like
It feels like that's the entire reason for this, and also to prove that Nayna is her obedient little puppy dog in front of Dirk. Like, this is your son. He is mine.
But I guess you can keep your daughter, huh? I mean, this is just all a big mess. So I say to you, be gone! This sacred hall of justice has no need for such a worthless royal priestess. Worthless? Wow. How can she say that to her own daughter?
Is someone gonna stand up for her?
So, Mother, you think me worthless?
Objection!
Yes! Thank you!
Her benevolence says she can do it, doesn't she? So I don't see why you have to condemn her before she's even made the attempt. Very well, horned devil. If you really are so bent on having a seance, I shall give my consent.
And this just proves that she just wanted to batter down Rayfa and break her confidence in herself so she couldn't succeed.
Well, she keeps trying to do everything in her power to just stop, we're not moving forward, we're keeping this where I have the advantage.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't care how many times she has to batter down Rayfa in order to keep moving with it. Really? However, should Rayfa fail once more...
Yes, you'll kill us. We get it.
You two and the accused shall all be executed on the spot. You had your chance to avoid this. You didn't take it.
I have some sanitary concerns with that.
Haven't I already dismissed you, your majesty?
Multiple times.
Come again on the spot? This is proving to be far more entertaining than I had anticipated. Well, lawyer, what say you? Will you wager your life and call on Rayfa to perform a divination seance?
Yes!
Better not pick the other option or boom, it's over.
Yeah.
I don't think you're worthless, your benevolence. Far from it, in fact. If you say you can do it, then I believe in you. Hornhead, I do not understand. If I fail, you will be put to death.
I mean, nothing's really changed. If we fail, we'll be put to death.
I know you collapsed during your previous attempt. I can't even imagine how terrible it must have been for you. But despite that, you are willing to try again. I have faith in that conviction, in that courage. My courage?
Ah, so she was doomed to fail if she didn't have the courage to perform the seance. But it looks like she's got the determination to try again.
Right. And that's a bet I'm willing to take.
Me too, Apollo.
It's not like we have any other choice in any case. But it is as Mother said. I've erred in my insights as of late, and maybe even before them, too. Not only have I failed to reveal the truth, I've also contributed to false accusations.
You let us worry about the interpretation.
Yeah, to Rayfa's credit, she cares deeply about this. Deeply and genuinely.
Just because her insights were off doesn't mean what she did was wrong. It's that no one ever thought to question and analyze them as an actual piece of evidence. They just accepted it blindly. That's not her fault. That's the fault of the system.
It seems like the kingdom of Khura'in used to be a lot freer, and certainly a lot more just, under the previous queen and before. However, everything seems to have changed with a particular monarch. Knowing that, can you still say that you believe in me?
Objection!
I wouldn't take stock in those words, Your Benevolence. Despite what your mother says, I don't think you've made any errors at all.
What?
In the trials I've been a part of here in Khura'in, I would have never proven my client's innocence without your seances.
Like Dirk said, it's just another piece of evidence.
Because even though they didn't always reflect the absolute truth, the insight they provided served as vital leads to finding the truth.
Vital leads? My seances did? So please, your benevolence, try to perform the Divination Seance one more time. For your father.
Yeah.
I...
Oh, shut up!
Rayfa, stop this madness. It is for your own good. You are ill-prepared to face your father's death. Go. Leave this sacred hall at once.
What better way to face it?
Yeah, what better way indeed. No. What did you say? I said no, Mother. For I am the royal priestess of Khura'in. I have no need for you now.
She doesn't exist for your convenience.
Even if you do not need me, Mother, Hornhead and this Hall of Justice do.
I love this.
He proved that to me by risking his own life. It's because of him that I now understand. The Divination Seance is my sacred duty. I must fulfill it, no matter the risk. Well done, Rayfa. Your benevolence. Mother taught me that the Divination Seance was a mirror reflecting naught but the truth. But I began to have my doubts after Barbed Head disproved the insights it offered. And now, I don't even know who or what to trust anymore. Father, Mother, even Nayna. I believed in them above all others.
Your daughter.
But I finally know now. I know in what I can trust. The royal priestess must debate each seance with the presiding lawyer and prosecutor. So that it can be interpreted properly.
Yeah. Yeah!
This is the system here, but it doesn't mean that the system itself is wrong, just its implementation. That is how I believe trials here in Khura'in should function. Isn't it maybe the way they did before?
Yeah.
Therefore, the Hall of Justice needs me. It is my power that leads trials toward the truth. That is my sacred duty, and I will never shirk from it again.
That right there, your benevolence, is the product of what you've learned in your struggles so far. The truth that you realized with your own strength.
She was never a tyrant like the rest of her family. She always... The reason it bothered her so much is because she was worried she was doing something wrong, and that she wanted to do what was right and what was just.
She cares about being fair to her people. She cares about her people.
I guess to some people, noblesse oblige really has worked. As my sacred duty, I must ensure that it is fulfilled. I must have the courage and resolve to see it through. Your Eminence, the royal priestess says she'll conduct the Divination Seance. I see no grounds for you to forbid it.
I don't see any grounds either, Apollo. What do you think, Judge? Oh, I don't know what you're even talking about. No, it works for me.
Unless, of course, you're worried that it might reveal something you find inconvenient. You are the prosecution of this case. Mother, I am done letting you have your way!
Yeah!
Rayfa, you would actually rebel against me, your mother and queen? So I am scared to see my father's death. I must face my fear. That is what Hornhead has taught me here today. Rayfa.
She's been learning a lot from them lately.
From both of them.
I am the royal priestess Rayfa Padma Khura'in,
No one had to take her cloak this time.
and I am prepared to face my father's death.
Well done, Rayfa.
Your Eminence. It seems the princess is more grown up than you thought.
Rayfa.
Well then, let us proceed with the Divination Seance.
The victim's final moments. This should be interesting.
Especially if he really is face blind.
If that's the direction it goes. I wonder what Inga's memories are gonna show us. And it's gonna change everything.
Oh yeah!
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
There we go.
Grape juice? What?
Well, these are his final moments, huh?
Especially if he didn't realize he'd been stabbed.
Man's voice. So he was stabbed here.
Or that's when the knife was pulled out.
Yeah, and of course he looks up to see... He
Ah!
doesn't see Dirk, but we're right about the face blindness.
Yep, and that's also not where Dirk was standing.
Explosion? Is
The
that...
gun, the gun.
Would you call that an explosion?
I mean, it literally is an explosion. That's how you propel the bullet.
Well, yes, but when discussing it, one does not normally use those... Well, anyway.
Would you prefer to just go bang?
Well, we'd laugh at that, whereas this time we think it's weird. In
Fair
any
point.
case, we've got a lot to move through there. Like, for instance, I just don't remember where Dirk was standing and where Inga's body was, but reviewing the evidence will take care of that.
Right.
So, and we'll be doing a lot of that clearly.
Yeah.
What in the...
A faceless being? Oh no!
You can only be surprised by it once. We saw those notes. And we were like instantly, oh, it's face blindness, prosopagnosia. You only get surprised by it one time.
And then you can notice the signs.
We're not criticizing that just because we've seen it before. It's just
I'm pretty sure if we hadn't played,
we would have been like, what the?
Yeah!
What the heck? His face is just like that picture of the founder. Is this some thing of deep religious significance?
Oh god, he was killed by Slender Man! I think that's the last thing anyone, except BSG, expected to see.
You know, I guess if you were to put the Slender Man face on Garan, wouldn't that be a little closer?
I suppose you're right, yes.
Slender Queen? Oh, Father, what was it? What was it you saw?
Are we to understand that this was the last thing the victim saw?
It really was. It's just that now that we know that we were right about the face blindness, it means that we don't have to believe that that's Dirk.
You're right.
Because somebody who knew that he had it could set it up. And last time there was a trial going on, the whole thing was set up by Indy. Anyway, yes, there can be no mistake. That was what my father himself witnessed. That's your clue. What my father himself witnessed. He can't witness anything other than his own perception. Oh, I don't know that.
How very strange. You don't suppose...
Bah, I didn't drop character at the right time.
The Holy Mother possessed the accused and slew Minister Inga for planning a coup?
The Holy Mother has a face! The divine wrath of the Holy Mother!
Oh, Holy Mother, we are ever grateful for your blessings. Please don't curse us. Talk about a sharp left turn into the Twilight Zone.
You know, I always preferred the Outer Limits.
Me too.
Actually, the Twilight Zone is better, but anyway. There's just one thing in there that caught my attention.
Just one?
There's many things, but we need to look at it again so we can catch it all. That laugh. Who does it belong to? And why are they laughing? Who knows? Though, I suppose it could be Dirk after he slew my husband. He does have that obnoxiously loud laugh after all.
Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't...
Knock it off! Not right now! But that figure didn't even have a mouth.
No, Apollo, that is not what... I mean, you do need to focus on that, but not in that way.
It wasn't a joke. I think we're done here, lawyer. How so? You claimed that Minister Inga was stabbed in his private quarters, and feeling no pain, went to the tomb where he eventually fell dead. But this seance vision proves he was stabbed in the tomb, and felt great pain, no less.
Or that's when the knife was pulled out.
Or he could have been stabbed there after all. The knife being
fine.
pulled out is probably correct, but even if it isn't, it wasn't necessary that he be stabbed in his quarters.
Yeah.
Look, the point was to draw this thing out, and we did, and now we have information we can point to.
That's true.
Oh, right. Well, you know, as evidence changes, your theories change. Therefore, as I asserted all along.
You don't find it strange that he didn't turn to the sound of a man's voice and footsteps?
You be quiet! It was the accused who stabbed the minister in the tomb.
I think I got a point.
Everything just backfired big time.
No, Apollo, you're fine. Wow. Garan has the devil's own luck, doesn't she?
For some reason, maybe it's because she's the devil. I mean, look at her! Now then, I shall give voice to the soul of the deceased. Listen well and heed these words. At around 3 p.m., my father was waiting in the tomb to make the hostage exchange. He was drinking grape juice while gazing upon the picture of the Holy Mother. He had been waiting vigilantly when suddenly he heard Dirk's voice.
And kept his back to him, I'm just saying.
The next moment, he was stabbed in the back and collapsed. My father tried to shoot his attacker, but he missed, and the attacker let out a laugh. Does that mean the bullets are lodged in the roof?
Maybe? But then what about the one that hit the statue?
I agree.
Yeah.
This is a point of great consternation. So what now, Mr. Wright? I wasn't present for this before.
It's up to us to knock holes in Rayfa's interpretations of Inga's memories, just like we knock holes in everything else.
Hey, except this time Rayfa's not going to take it personally. She just might argue back, though.
Well, she may help us, actually.
Arguing back is helping us.
That's true. In other words, we need to prove that her understanding of them could be mistaken.
Okay, I'll give it a try. At around 3 p.m.
This seems correct.
Doesn't seem anything unusual there.
Drinking grape juice, gazing up at the picture of the Holy Mother.
Incense.
His
footsteps. Here's a voice. Does not turn because he is expecting Dirk.
Yeah, but you would still think his guard would be up.
And then pain.
And then he hears other footsteps.
Then the footsteps could be this person coming in front.
Maybe, but why didn't he hear footsteps of Dirk?
Couldn't it have been that the footsteps were this Dirk walking in front of him?
Maybe, but here he is walking.
So Inga hears Inga's footsteps here.
That's right.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Okay, what are you talking about?
Of course, we have the pain.
And then Dirk walking around.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Ah!
Those footsteps are Dirk walking in front of him. Covered in all that blood. Guess he passes out before he's able to shoot.
Right. And then Dirk laughs.
He's walking, the incense is real, and he hears the voice. Maybe we should just point out, why didn't he turn around?
I think that's what it is.
Well, I mean, he heard Dirk's voice, which he was expecting Dirk.
I know, but still, like a rebel leader that you're here to do a hostage exchange with?
But if you don't flip out...
Well, I'm not saying flip out. I mean turn around when the person...
It shows that you're in a position of power.
The bullets ended up right over there.
Yeah, okay, so...
The one bullet we found.
Right. Okay, so Inga started at the bottom, sitting at the table on the bottom right. We see him drink, then he gets up and heads towards the portrait at the end, right?
Yes. Then he gets stabbed and falls down.
Okay, then in front of the portrait,
he sees Dirk.
He pulls up his gun and he fires. Yet we found the bullet
on that
there's
the discrepancy.
On the broken statue.
There's the discrepancy.
Why'd he fire it there? And if he didn't fire it, who did?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we ought to look at that explosion. Because this is right in front.
Of the picture. There should be a bullet hole in the painting.
And he pulls up his gun. Maybe the gun, like that but he missed, maybe that's what we need to hit, is the gun. Because
that does show him pointing it at Dirk.
Right, and that is
and he closed his eyes.
And so where's the bullets? Well, they're not over there, but we found a bullet to the right of this.
Okay.
Doesn't that seem like it's it?
That seems like it's it. So we need to select the gun.
Objection!
Or not.
I didn't like that, huh? Okay, so maybe that's jumping ahead. But this is gonna come up. This is not irrelevant.
But if it wasn't Dirk that came in, then wouldn't the voice kind of contradict this? If it isn't as we suspected Dirk?
On the contrary, since he heard a voice and didn't turn around, that seems to indicate that it is Dirk, so maybe we shouldn't push that point too much. Well, you're right. It would contradict that, but he didn't turn around because he heard what he was expecting.
The phone? He wasn't on the phone with anyone at the time.
Yeah, just like the bullets, I think that's pretty weird.
I get what you're saying about expecting Dirk, but I still feel that if a mortal enemy of his has shown up, that he would turn around to face him. So, shouldn't it be man's voice? It doesn't say Dirk's voice.
Well, that's two different things. Are you saying that he would have turned?
I'm saying I really think he would have turned around to face Dirk if Dirk had shown up.
But he's expecting Dirk, so when he hears a voice, and let's say it's not who he expected, then why does he just still keep staring ahead?
It could be a different voice he expected, maybe one of his underlings?
It seems to me that if you are in a position of power, and you are facing away, and you hear what you're expecting, you're not going to turn around because you're expecting it, and you're still in a position of power. Whereas if you heard something you didn't expect, which is someone that was not that person, then...
That makes a distressing amount of sense,
then
I will admit.
Then you would be like, who's that? And turn around.
Let's give it a try anyway.
I mean, I guess if it's an underling or something, but it didn't...
Objection!
No, if that's what they want, that's what they want. Your benevolence, there seems to be an inconsistency in your interpretation. An inconsistency? Where? Minister Inga is far too relaxed for what was supposedly about to take place. Maybe because of...
Painkillers?
Grape juice?
Grape juice? I love the way you said it.
When he heard the voice you claim is Dirk's, he didn't seem the least bit alarmed. He just kept looking at the picture of the founder.
But you kind of see that in fiction, where, like, the big mastermind has his back to the hero as they enter his lair.
That's exactly what I was saying. Isn't that weird? He was waiting for Dirk to arrive with the founder's orb. But when he heard that voice, he didn't even turn to look. Don't you think he would have been worried about being attacked from behind?
And that's kind of the angle I was thinking.
Well, then whose voice was it? It was likely someone whose presence wouldn't have alarmed him. Someone like a friend.
A friend?
But there was no third party at the scene of the crime. Therefore, the voice can only have belonged to Dirk. The voice of a third party who wasn't there in the tomb.
Apollo, don't we have something that could reveal the owner of the mystery voice?
Well, like what?
That's your job.
I think we do. I guess it's time to look at the court record. Something that Inga had while he was waiting for Dirk. With it, we just might be able to figure out whose voice it was. Oh, well, the
phone! Oh my god!
I believe we can identify the male voice Minister Inga heard. Who is this? That's my father's... I know this must be hard for you, but could you please look at this photo? See, the thing was we didn't even think about that. We were so focused on the gun. We were kind of both right. There is something here that can point us towards the identity of the voice.
It was the knife lying next to him.
I mean, I don't know about you. I talked to my knife.
Stab. Whoop. Achoo.
A cell phone? Right. I believe that the voice the minister heard was of a call on this cell phone.
I see. Well, that certainly makes sense. What is your eminence's view on the matter? I'm sure you're going to dismiss it, just like you dismissed me.
I can see the possibility.
Can you check the call logs?
And it seems I must refine my vision. However, what does it change? Does it actually change anything?
Well, the laughter
Are you saying that the laughter he heard was
may have
coming
come
from the phone?
It did fall about that area.
It appears that the voice belonged to one of my father's subordinates then.
Because if it wasn't Dirk's voice, then she can't really make the assumption that the laughter was his too.
Why do you suppose he was talking to one of them then? I mean, duh? My father had members of the secret police positioned throughout the palace. They were supposed to contact him as soon as they saw Dirk and the rest of you. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Your benevolence, I believe you have an insight to revise? Please.
I know, Barbed Head. Don't presume to tell me how to do my duty.
It's good to have you back. So the voice was coming from the phone. That's good to know. But there might have been other sounds coming from the phone. Sounds that could be clues. Do you all understand?
He's just shrieking out the answer there, so we may as well.
Let's take another look at Rayfa's insights and really focus on the various sensations, like smell and taste.
Okay, let's deal with the smell and the taste that Inga was experiencing.
Because the explosion comes from where the gun is. So then, it must be this!
Objection!
It must not be this!
What? What is this?
The warbond! So the person he was talking to was in the bazaar.
Right, but the thing that establishes... Why did he not hear that before? Isn't that odd? Well, anyway... Okay, so if the person he was talking to was in the bazaar, this was around 2 p.m., not 3 p.m.
Yeah!
We have
because that was Shadow barking.
We have a statement to this, and so it would be on the 3 p.m., because this directly contradicts the why. I still don't know why we didn't hear those before, but...
That is really strict, but isn't that usually how the revisions work? They become more clear?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so... It would be the very first statement then.
Yeah, because it wasn't around 3 p.m. Because when he hears the dog bark, watch, you're gonna want the roar and not the bark for some reason. Watch that be the case. Okay. I mean, sorry that I don't think it's weird that he'd hear the roar of a lion.
I think it's pretty weird too.
Objection!
I mean, we know what it is. The dog's bark should have worked too.
You've said before that we always have to use the revised statement.
That is true.
And so if we point out that he was on the phone with the subordinate, we can place the subordinate.
Okay, yeah, we're jumping ahead.
So it's gotta be this one.
We knew what the dang thing they wanted was.
The tricky part is picking how the game wants us to present it.
Just we already had placed a subordinate, but we needed to place the subordinate. I hate to break it to you, your benevolence, but you misinterpreted something again. What do you mean, again?
Smooth, Apollo. I think you just hurt her feelings. She may put on a brave face, but she feels more than she lets on.
Oh, you shut up, Barbed Head! Let me rephrase that, your benevolence.
I mean, to be fair, I've got more experience dealing with her than you do.
Your interpretation of your father's phone call to his subordinate at the palace is... at the palace! We should have realized that that's why they were trying to...
I see.
We just ignored that word and already moved ahead to place him elsewhere.
Whee!
Is inconsistent with his final memory. What do you mean by that?
We have lions at the palace.
A lion's roar could be heard over the phone. Don't you find that strange? You claim the call was with someone at the palace, but you don't, contrary to your assertion, have lions at the palace. Let me ask you, do you keep lions there? No, the only animals at the palace are little birdies and my pet frog.
Your pet frog has balls of steel.
Wait, that giant frickin' 8-pound frog in front of the minister's house is her pet?
That's amazing.
Besides, there aren't any lions in Khura'in. We don't even have any zoos. A rather sad state of affairs, I'm afraid. Well, I remember hearing a sound like that. The lion's roar coming from the phone is actually from something hanging out in the jungle!
You're right! No.
Isn't that the cry of the warbot over in the bazaar?
Oh, it's getting some fame here.
Your benevolence. Do you think you can clarify the voice for me? Very well. I will now attempt to further refine my vision.
This seems like an unnecessary step to get to the whole 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock thing.
Yeah, but we needed to move more precisely.
Yeah.
What's this? Just as I suspected. It's the end of the episode! You mean the end of the episode was the killer all along?
No one expects the end of the episode.